Hello, everyone, and welcome to our webinar. We are so glad that you have joined us today in order to learn how to submit your year-end census and plan data to TRA in the most efficient way possible. We are very glad to have you on board as TRA clients and excited to show you this presentation today. I'm going to first just start out with some basic information. You may or may not be familiar with how to get to our Plan Sponsor Link website. The easiest way to get there is to go to the TRA website, tra401k.com. In the top right corner of the website, you will see a login button. Once you click that button, you will have two options: My Account link and Plan Sponsor link. In order to submit your year-end data, you want to go to Plan Sponsor link. That will take you to a different web page, landing page to log in. You can bookmark this page for easy access in the future. Your username is going to be the email address that we have on file for you here at TRA. If you have logged in before, you should know your password. If you have not logged in to Plan Sponsor Link previously, please click the First Time User button and follow the prompts to set up your password. If you are having trouble logging in and need your password reset, we do have a convenient Forgot Password link here. If you have further issues logging in, please reach out to your client relationship manager here at TRA, and they will be glad to assist you. When you sign in to Plan Sponsor Link, your first page that you see should be your active task page. It will have a list of items for you to complete specific to your personal plan. For today's demonstration, we are going to be doing the year-end data collection. So we will click Begin Task on the right-hand side of our screen, and it will take us to the Data Collection tab. Some of this information may be pre-filled for you if we have it on file. If we do not, you will need to enter the information. The first page you will see is going to be the general screen. On this screen, we will see the instructions, which will be repeated on the top of each screen, specific to what that particular screen is looking for. For company contact information on the general screen, we are verifying your company's address and contact phone numbers. You can add information by clicking the Add button. And we want to, let's just say, add this address as the mailing address for the company. I would just select the correct address from the drop-down. If I need to edit it, I can do so by hitting the Edit button. And then I would select the address type, again, from the drop-down and hit Submit. That updates the address in our system. You can do the same with your mobile numbers. If you have any notes that you need to communicate to your relationship manager or anyone here on our team at TRA, you can click the Notes button. It will have a pop-up, click Add, and type in your note. Once you have typed in your note, you click Submit, and then you can X out of the pop-up. Once you have completed the screen, you will click Save. Please make sure to click Save each time you complete a screen before moving on to the next screen. On this particular page, if we have the information on file, you will see that it will be uploaded. Otherwise, you will need to enter the information. This is the company page. We will be obtaining your EIN, your company's fiscal year, entity type, and payroll frequency. Those fields are required. We do like to obtain your NAIC code, which is the 5-digit governmental code that tells us what industry you are in. And we do like to have your payroll provider on file, just so that we can provide you with advice based on that payroll provider information if necessary. However, those two fields are not required. Go ahead and enter my EIN. My fiscal year was preloaded and it is correct. And then I'm going to select my entity type and my payroll frequency. Once I've done that, I'm going to hit save and it will automatically advance me to the next screen. This next screen is titled Principals. On this screen, we are obtaining the information for anyone who has ownership in your company. So we will enter that information here. And Roger Rabbit is going to be our co-owner, and he has 51%. And he owns it with Mickey Mouse. Select co-owner, and Mickey owns 49%. Once we have that information, it does automatically total the ownership percentages up for you. So you need to make sure that this number here is equal to 100%. If you need to go back and edit information, you can click edit. If we've already preloaded the ownership information for you and it has changed, for example, Mickey retired, we can just delete Mickey from the screen and go in and update Roger Rabbit's ownership. Once we have completed the screen, we want to hit save to advance to the next screen. On this particular screen, we are looking for familial relationships within the company. Now, I'm not looking for anybody that you're related to that doesn't work for you. I want to know if anybody that works for the company is related to you. So here we are going to just go ahead and add Jessica Rabbit. And she is the spouse of Roger. And once we have entered that information, we are going to click submit. If there is anybody else related, just continue adding those employees until you have completed the list, and then click save once you have completed that. The next screen is going to be our businesses screen. We know that a lot of our business owners and TRA plan sponsors do have multiple businesses. We need the information for those businesses in order to properly test the plan for compliance with federal regulations. On this screen, you will click Add and type in any company name, address, city, state, any of the appropriate demographic information for the company that is owned. Now, this particular company does not have ownership in any other companies, so we are going to skip this section. But if you do have ownership in those companies, please make sure to complete this section. Going to hit save to advance to the next screen. This screen is our contact information screen. It is going to list anyone that we have on file as a contact for your plan. This should list your main contact, typically your investment advisor. You may see your client relationship manager contact information there. It will have several people listed. So please make sure you are scrolling through and ensuring that everybody is still employed with you, still needs to have contact information for the plan because this is a list of people that TRA can communicate with regarding your plan. It's also going to list what privileges and rights they have as far as the access to information on Plan Sponsor Link. You will see that Kyle here has full permissions. He can see almost anything. However, Susie has no information or no permissions for Plan Sponsor Link. That means that she's not going to have access to see things like census data or other sensitive payroll information. So whenever you're checking this, you do want to make sure that those permissions are up to date as well. If you need to change anything, you can click the Change Request button, and we are going to submit a change to remove Susie from this plan. She's no longer employed. Then you would hit Submit. Once you do your final data submission, that note will actually come to your client relationship manager, and they will reach out to you to get all of the information necessary to make any changes to your contacts. Once we have completed this page, we're going to hit Save. And this is the page where I see most of our clients getting a little bit tripped up. I don't think that the information is necessarily something that is overly confusing or anything, but it is a lot of information that we're asking for. Rest assured, we're asking for this information so that we can make sure your plan is in compliance with all federal regulations and in the best health that it can be. So we will go through these answers. Your client relationships manager, should you have any questions as to how you should answer something, has access to all of these questions. These questions are going to be customized to a degree to your specific plan. So you can call your client relationship manager to help step you through any of these questions. We will want to know if you maintained any other retirement plans in addition to this plan. Typically, that's going to be a no answer. However, you could have a pension plan and a 401k plan. If you do, then you would have an answer of yes here. For this particular plan, we're going to go ahead and answer no. However, if you do have that secondary plan, please make sure to answer question number 2 with the name of the third-party administrator that is responsible for the combined testing of those plans. We will want to know if you had any mergers or acquisitions during the year, whether or not you sold your business. So you will answer that question appropriately. If you did, your client relationship manager will reach out to you for more information regarding that so that we, again, can make sure that your plan is in the best health possible. We will ask you again about ownership changes for the plan. So we're asking this question not only on the principal screen, but on this screen as well to help us maintain the health of your plan. If there were ownership changes, you would describe them in number 5. In number 6, we are asking you if your plan is part of an affiliated service group. This would happen if you have owners who have ownership in multiple companies. If you think that you might be part of an affiliated service group, you will need to discuss that with your CPA and let us know what they advise. For the plan that is held here at TRA, we are going to ask you if your plans were held at multiple investment providers. This could be something like you have assets at both Morgan Stanley and Edward Jones. That is unusual. However, we do have some plans that have assets at something like American Funds and Morgan Stanley, where it's a combined investment platform like that. So you would answer this question appropriately and then list the investment providers in question 8. Question 9 will ask you if your plan's assets are currently invested in any non-traditional holdings. Non-traditional holding is going to be something like a life insurance plan or real estate investments, company stock, artwork, etc. It's unusual to have this. However, if you do, we do need to know about that so that we can test your plan appropriately. Question 10 is going to be asking you if you have offered your plan to all employees as they have become eligible to participate in the plan. Hopefully, this question is always answered with yes. However, if it's not, we can appropriately advise you on the corrections necessary. Question 11 is about employees who have been rehired. If you have an employee who left and has now returned, generally speaking, they could be immediately eligible upon rehire. It will depend on the provisions in your exact plan. For this particular plan, the provisions state that the employee who is returning is immediately eligible upon rehire. We are going to ask if you offer them the plan appropriately. Again, hopefully the answer to that question is always going to be yes. If it is not, we can help you make that correction. Number 12 is just a statement, us ensuring that you are going to provide the most accurate information that you have to your knowledge to us for your plan, and you confirming that you will do so. On question 13, 14, and 15, we are asking you about employee types that are legally excludable from your plan. Those are going to be leased employees, employees who are part of a collective bargaining unit or union employees, or any employees who are non-resident aliens with no U.S. earned income. So you would answer 13, 14, and 15 based on the demographics of your company. And then you would move on to question 16. Hopefully the answer to this one is no, but if it is yes, we can assist you. Question 16 is going to be, did you have any employees terminate their employment due to death or disability? Those are special circumstances when it comes to a 401k plan, and we can advise you on how to proceed on those. Question 18 is introducing you to the earned income section of the questionnaire. Not every plan is going to have earned income. Earned income is non-W-2 owner income. The best way to describe it is going to be your self-employment income, pre-tax, but after deductible plan expenses. Generally speaking, you will have to get these numbers from your accountant, and they are ready a little bit later in the year than right now. So we're going to be asking you questions about that. Now, if you don't have plans that are taxed in a way that indicate to us you may have earned income, you will not see these questions on your questionnaire. Question 19 is going to ask if you have any participants that may have that type of income. And then questions 20, 21, 22, 23, 24 will all be related to that income. We would like to have the name of the participant, if there is one, the date that that earned income amount is available. So I mentioned that this may be available later in the year. Maybe it's going to be available to you in May. We'd like to know an estimated date so that we can contact you on that date to get that number. Um, Generally speaking, earned income is not a round number, so we will indicate that to you just so you're aware. Um, and then we will be asking if anybody that has that type of income will be making employee contributions after the close of the plan year. This particular plan year closes on 12/31. So we're asking if they're going to be making any contributions from their income in January, February, March, etc. Question 25 is asking about your forfeitures. So if you have employer money types on your plan and you have a vesting schedule on those, if an employee leaves prior to that vesting schedule being fulfilled by their tenure, they will have forfeitable amounts. Those amounts will go into your plan's forfeiture account, and you can use the funds in your forfeiture account to pay your plan expenses or reduce out of pocket for employer contributions. Question 25 is asking if you would like to use, how you would like to use that amount. If you have a matching contribution on your plan, we are going to ask you if you would like for us to make that calculation for you. In question 27, you do have several options here. You can tell us that it was made throughout the year. You can tell us to calculate the contribution for you. Or you can tell us, yeah, I want you to calculate it for me, but I'd like to see what it looks like before it's finalized. And that would be this last option. Yes, I'd like to see an illustration. If you would like for us to calculate this match for you, we do like to have the formula. Some plans have their formulas set in stone in their plan documents. Some plans have a more discretionary formula. If you are one of the plans that has a more discretionary formula, please enter that formula that you want us to use on the questionnaire. If you need help with the way you word the formula or have questions about what formula you would like to use, your client relationship manager here at TRA will be glad to assist you with that. Question 29, 30, and 31 are in regards to employer discretionary contributions. You may know these as profit sharing. They are fully discretionary. We can assist you with those calculations as well. You'll have the same options on the drop down here as you did for the matching contributions. On question 31, we're going to be asking you how you would like that profit sharing allocated. It does give you some examples of you can select a total dollar amount that you would like to contribute to your employee base as a whole. You can select a percentage that you would like everybody to get. You can give us instructions to maximize certain employees and minimize others. Once you have decided what you want to do, you can type the decision here in the freeform box. We're going to maximize our owners here and minimize our employees. And then if you need TRA assistance for any of the above employer contributions, so your matching contribution or your employer discretionary contribution, we will be asking you the earliest date you wish to deposit these funds. Generally speaking, you want these funds to go in before your tax filing deadline, including any extensions. So let's just say I want to deposit my funds in May. So I'm going to select the date in May that I would really like to deposit those funds by. and from the calendar. Then I'll move on to the next question. 34 and 35 are for new plans only. So if your plan began this year, we are going to be asking you what date you started withholding deferrals from employee pay on. You will enter that date using the calendar. And if your plan started during this plan year, we do want to know if you had any employees who made over 130,000 in the preceding year. So for 2022, we're going to be asking you if you had any employees who made over 130,000 in 2021. The reason we ask that is because those employees are considered highly compensated employees by the IRS standards, and we do have to test them in certain ways in order to make sure your plan is in compliance with regulations. Once you have completed the questionnaire, hit save, and then you'll move on to our 5500 questionnaire. Our 5500 questionnaire is just some more questions about how your plan operated throughout the year and will help us prepare your 5500 tax filing. The first question we are going to be asking you is if you have remitted any of your deferrals, so the amounts that you are withholding from employee pay, late. Generally speaking, Department of Labor guidelines are 7 business days. Hopefully you don't have any late deferral deposits, but if you do, like we have said before, we can help you get that corrected. You do have options here on the drop down of whether or not you want TRA to help you with that correction. So just make sure you select the appropriate one if you did have late deferral deposits. You as a plan sponsor are required under IRS regulation to carry a fidelity bond that is at least 10% of the asset value of the plan at the beginning of the plan year. Question number 3 is going to be asking you if you have that bond. From the drop down, you can select either auto inflation guard, which means you do have that bond, and the amount automatically increases as your asset level increases. You can select that you have no coverage, or you can select that you have coverage in the amount of. If you select in the amount of, in question 4, you will enter the amount of the bond. Question 5 is going to be asking you if a resolution to terminate your plan has been adopted during the plan year. If it has, please let us know, and we can assist you with properly terminating your plan in compliance with all of the regulations. Question 6 is going to ask you if any assets or liabilities were transferred from this plan to another qualified plan during the plan year, or if they were transferred from another qualified plan into this plan. So this is going to be something like a plan merger, or you've purchased other companies, et cetera, and you're combining those assets into one plan. If that has happened, we will need the name of the other plan, the EIN of that plan, the dollar amount transferred, and the date of transferred, and the IRS plan number for that plan. If your plan is utilizing our 316 services, you can skip the next few questions. If you are not utilizing the 316 services, please answer questions 13 through 15. We will be asking for the name of the person within your company that is going to be signing the Form 5500 and their unique email address. It does have to be their email address. It cannot be a general inbox. You can use a Gmail if you need to set up a free option for them if they do not have a company email address. Um, Questions 16, 17, and 18, as well as 19 and 20, are going to be more questions about your experience here at TRA. You are a priority for us, and we do care about how you feel about the service levels you're receiving, if you think we need to make any changes, and we want to hear from you on that. So consider this just a very brief customer satisfaction survey, um, and whether or not you're going to be a reference for TRA. Once you have completed all of these questions, you will hit save. And now you're on your employee screen. This is where you're going to be entering the bulk of your data. There are a couple of ways to enter employees. If you have a small company with only a handful of employees, the easiest way to enter your employees is going to be to hit this add button. You will have a pop-up that collects the information we need. Now, I will point out that you're not going to have information in every single box, so please just fill out the boxes that are applicable to your company. For example, we will have total compensation, but we may not have bonus compensation. You may have salary deferrals, but you may not have employer match. Then you will scroll down and enter the employee hours. Those are required. And once you have entered the employee information, you will hit save. I'm going to enter in Prince Charming. And select his date of birth. You can hit this top key here just to go down in the years and pick a date of birth. He was hired November 1st of 22. His total compensation was $20,000, and he had a pre-tax deferral of $1,000. He also worked 200 hours in the 2022 year. Then I'm going to hit save, and it will populate his information on the screen for me. If you have a company that has more than a handful of employees, the easiest way to enter information is going to be using an Excel file. You will hit this export button here, and you have a choice to download in two different Excel formats. One question we get a lot is, which Excel format do I need to use? It doesn't matter. Whichever one is compatible with your computer system is perfectly fine. When you download the information, it is going to populate a spreadsheet like this. You will have instructions on the second tab here for each and every column as to what information that column is looking for, as well as how the information in that column needs to be formatted. I do want to emphasize the formatting here. It is very important to follow these formatting instructions. If they are not followed, then your spreadsheet has a chance of not uploading back into our system. On the Employees tab, you will see columns to collect the necessary information. The columns need to stay as is. They are formatted in a very specific way and in a very specific order to gather the information in a manner that is compatible with our software. You can add as many rows as you would like, but you cannot add or take away columns and then have the spreadsheet upload back into our system. So you do need to make sure that that formatting stays the same. I have a pre-populated employee census here for us to look at. It has already been filled out with the necessary employee information. You may notice a couple holes on this. I did that on purpose. And we are going to now upload that into the system. We're going to select the import button. We're going to choose the file. Once we have the correct file chosen, we're going to hit the import button. And it's going to get that information into the system for me. Now you will see that a big red or yellow highlight has appeared on my screen. Issues have been detected with your employee census records. Click here to view those issues. It's going to open in a new window, and it is going to tell me the employee name and the specific issues related to that employee. You'll see that I have both errors and warnings. Warnings, you want to check and make sure that that information is correct. If it is, you can continue to move forward. If it is not, please correct it and then move forward. An error, you are going to have to get that correct information into the system before you can finalize your data submission. So let's look at Elmer Fudd. I'm showing that his date of separation is before the start of the current plan year. I'm going to click back on my employee tab, and let's look at Elmer. His date of separation. Oh, he terminated in 2021. I don't need to have Elmer on my census if he terminated in 2021 because he was not due any benefits in 2022. But, oops, I accidentally fat fingered that, and his date of termination was actually in 2022. I can click Edit and update that information. And now he has terminated in 2022. I'm going to go back and view my issues again. You'll see that Elmer Fudd has disappeared off of the error list. For Minnie Mouse, she doesn't have a social security number. So let's go in and put in Minnie Mouse's social security number. You'll just click the edit button and input her social security number. Now she should be off of the error list. For Roger Rabbit, his hire date is before his birth date. That's probably an error. So I would correct that. It's a very intuitive system. We have his hire date, let's see, as March 14th of 2017, but he was not born until January 4th of 2018. That's probably a typo. Now he is going to be off of my error list. I am going to leave the error for Santa Claus on there, but let's fix this one for the Tooth Fairy. It does say her hours of service is required. So let's look at the Tooth Fairy. She was a part-time employee this year, and I pulled up her HR records. Her hours were 680 for the year. Now I've gotten all of my errors except for that one that I intentionally left on there corrected. I do want to show you one more thing while we're on the employee screen. I emphasized to you how important it was for you to follow our formatting. Well, let's just say that you contacted your HR person. They sent you the census with all of the necessary information in it, and it was in this format. Well, this format is just a little bit different from this format. Let's look at these column headers. It's quite similar, but not perfectly in alignment with. You'll see that you have total gross compensation, but you're missing all of this other information, which throws these subsequent columns off. So what you would need to do with the census that you received from your HR person is copy paste the information as necessary into the proper file format, then save that and upload it. I am now finished with my employees. I'm going to hit save. And it's going to pop up and say, your census submission has errors. Your census collection has errors and cannot be saved until they are addressed. Please click here to view those. So I overlooked Santa Claus. I was busy correcting all of those other errors, and I forgot to go back and put in Santa Claus's date of hire. Now I can do that with the edit button. Santa Claus was hired in, let's just say, 2020 in February, and we've got that date in there now, and we can hit save. It's going to give you another pop-up, and it's going to say your census collection has warnings. You may choose to ignore these warnings. You can click here to view. So let's view our warnings. Okay, we've got some date of separations that's before the start of the current plan year. These particular items I've already looked at. I want to move forward. I think they're correct. So I'm going to hit continue and save anyway. And you'll see that all of my tabs are now checked off in green across the top as well as down the side. I am now on my approval screen, which is the final screen of your data submission. On this screen, if you have any supporting documentation that you need to get to us, for example, if you have assets that are held at somewhere like Morgan Stanley or Edward Jones or something like that, and you have statements that we do not have on file, you can upload those files here in the Documents tab by clicking Add and selecting your file from your computer, the document type, and entering a description. You would then hit Upload, and that document is submitted to us with your data submission. You can also add some notes. You will see that my note here from earlier to update the plan's address was carried over. Once I have seen that everything is correct, I'm comfortable with it, I'm going to sign and submit. And enter the appropriate information here. On our side, we will be able to tell you who signed and submitted the data. So if you have multiple people that have access to Plan Sponsor Link and one of them submits the data and you're calling asking questions later in the year, well, we can tell you, Bob signed this on January 11th at 2:45 p.m. and he's the one that submitted the information to us. You will also receive a confirmation email that looks like this from our automated system. It's going to be from admin at Plan Sponsor Link. I recommend keeping this for your files. It tells you thank you for submitting your data. It was submitted on X date. This is who submitted it. And that will submit your data over to our team here at TRA, and we'll begin our work. If you would like to download a report of your submission, you can click the Data Collection tab, and then you would find the most recent data collection that you submitted. Click Report, and it downloads an Excel file of the entire questionnaire for you. You'll have the tabs that you completed across the bottom, so you can go back and see your answers to all of the questions and your notes. That concludes our webinar today in teaching you how to submit your data collection in the most efficient way possible. We are going to now open